Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're shifting gears a little. We're not really digging into complex research papers or, abstract ideas. Instead, we're going to dive into something, well, much more immediate. More unsettling, really. It's a collection of true stories, chilling accounts, and they all started with something simple. An online transaction on Craigslist. These aren't just stories, they're real-life encounters. And each one is kind of a stark reminder of how quickly, the everyday can turn sinister. We'll share these stories directly from the people who live through them. Hopefully we can understand some of the hidden dangers that might be lurking just beneath the surface of these common online interactions.
Absolutely. And, as you'll hear, these stories, they're incredibly powerful reminders. They show how fast comfort can just dissolve into terror when trust is put in the wrong place. Or maybe even worse, when those gut feelings, those instincts we sometimes ignore are basically screaming at us.
That's exactly it. That's what we're looking at today. Let's start with our first story. We're calling it The Unexpected Guests. So picture this. Summer 2016. A family, they've just moved into a new house. They have this older washer and dryer, don't need them anymore. So what do? They list them on Craigslist, pretty standard stuff, hoping for a quick sale. They were actually surprised. Calls started coming in almost right away. Lots of interest. The only issue, they had plans. They were traveling for a family reunion. So they told everyone the same thing. First person there Monday morning gets them. And off they went. But that same night, they get this call. It's frantic. It's their daughter. She's stayed home alone because she wasn't feeling well. She's lying in bed and she hears this huge crash. Then voices coming from the living room. She knows it's not her parents. So she grabs her phone, hides in a closet, pretty brave, really, and calls 911. And she can hear these two men talking right outside the closet door, whispering about looking for something. Her biggest fear, just primal terror, was that they were there to kidnap her.
The 911 dispatcher kept her calm until the police got there. Then there was a commotion, yelling, and then just sudden, awful silence. Seconds later, the dispatcher says it's safe. She comes out, and the police are leading the last intruder away.
Wow. What's really disturbing there is how these guys just took this ordinary piece of information, the family being away, and turned it from a simple sale into, a planned home invasion.
Yeah.
It just shows the risk,
Yeah.
Seemingly innocent details can become like a blueprint for something awful. It really drives home how vulnerable we can be when we accidentally share a bit too much.
It really does. And the full story, it came out over the next week or so, for the police interrogations. It was even worse. These guys, they weren't just opportunists. Their original plan was to buy the appliances. But when they found out the family was gone, they just decided, hey, let's break in and steal them instead. They had absolutely no clue the daughter was still there. The family was told, these men would get serious prison time, previous convictions and all that. And that helped for a bit. But now, with talk of early releases, that fear that they might come back, that hangs over them. And the trauma for their daughter, potentially resurfacing, it's just this terrifying shadow.
That lingering fear.
That's heavy. It is. Okay, our next story. The sketchy refrigerator pickup. This happened just last May. This person, they just signed a lease, new house. Great, except no fridge. Money was tight, so, Craigslist seemed like the obvious place to find a cheap one. Almost immediately, a listing pops up. They call, talk to this nice lady. She says she can't promise it'll still be there later. So, against their better judgment, really, they send her $75 through PayPal, just to hold it. Small price for peace of mind or a
that upfront payment. Going against your gut feeling right at the start, that's often the first little warning sign, isn't it? Shows how wanting convenience can sometimes make us drop our guard.
Exactly. So a few days later, they drive over. Nice house, ranch style. This woman, Sunny, greets them. Then her boyfriend appears. John, big guy, like 6'5", tattoos, pretty imposing. John says he'll show them the fridge. Sunny just disappears. He leads them through the kitchen towards the garage, and the garage is dark, like almost pitch black. He points to the fridge, says the light's broken. Okay, annoying, but fine. Then he says the overhead garage door is broken too, so they're going to have to haul this thing through the house. It was definitely annoying, but they felt like they were already committed, So they take maybe 2-3 steps into the dark garage and just freeze. The entire floor, covered in plastic sheeting, like everywhere. Instantly, just this wave of nervousness hits them, a real jolt. And then from a corner, off to their left, a shuffling sound. Every instinct they had just screamed, "Get out, leave, now." Thinking fast, they just turn around. Walk quickly back to the door, saying to John, shoot, I forgot my dolly in the truck.
Be right back. John actually points to a dolly leaning against the wall, starts to say something, but they didn't wait. They bolted to the truck, peeled out of there, ignored the text John sent, tried to report on Craigslist, but poof, the listing was gone. The police sounded kind of skeptical, but they didn't care. They were safe. That's $35. Small price to pay. They hadn't used Craigslist since. Just feels too risky now.
Wow. That whole sequence, the red flags, just keep stacking up. The forced PayPal, the dark garage, the broken door, and then the plastic sheeting. And that sound. It just, it screams preparation for something awful. This story really hammers home how crucial it is to trust your instincts, even if you've already invested time or money. That gut feeling, it's often our best alarm system. Ignoring it can be, well, devastating.
It really could be life or death. And speaking of ignoring instincts, our next story, the meetup that went wrong. This one takes place in what should have been a safe spot, a public place, but it wasn't. This person was looking for a specific shelf stereo unit. Couldn't find it anywhere else online, so they remembered Craigslist. 10 minutes later, they find one. Perfect. They messaged the seller, arranged to meet at Walmart around 8 p.m., grab the cash, headed out. Figured it'd be a quick, easy exchange. But right when they get there, something feels off. They drive around the parking lot like 15 minutes, think they've been stood up. Just about to leave, they see two guys waving. The sellers, they pull over. That's why they parked way out, so far from the store entrance. One guy says there were no spots closer, which is obviously not true. Plenty of spots. But our narrator kind of lets it slide. Didn't want to make waves. The taller guy starts making small talk. Distraction, maybe, because the narrator doesn't even notice the other guy slipped around behind them. The second the narrator pulls out the cash, boom, hard nudge in the back. They look up at the tall guy, and there's a pistol pointed right at them.
Right there. That's the shift, isn't it? From a simple online deal to something else entirely. The parking lot, the way they position themselves, those aren't mistakes. They're tactics. Calculated. Designed to isolate you, take advantage of your focus on just getting the deal done. It's a classic setup. Plays on our politeness, our reluctance to cause a scene, even when everything feels wrong.
Exactly. It was obviously a robbery. The narrator, they just immediately hand over the cash. The tall guy even says thank you. Can you believe it? It wasn't finished. Then he demands their phone. Brand new iPhone. Reluctantly, they pull it out, take one last look. The second guy, the one who snuck up, never said a single word the whole time. The two guys grab the stuff, speed off, leaving the narrator just shaking, feeling stupid, you know. And at $100 cash and a $400 phone, they thought they'd done everything right, met in public. But the second the plan changed slightly, parking far away, they just went with it, ignored the warning signs. And now, no phone. They had to walk like 200 yards back to the store just to call the police. Police took the report, but were up front. Chances of catching them pretty low. And that was nearly 4 years ago. Still no arrests.
It's chilling, that thought, that it could have cost more. That vulnerability, especially when things change or you push down those doubts, it leads to this feeling of being violated. Not just your stuff, but your safety. This story really shows how fast a simple meetup can turn into something life-threatening. The fact that it didn't escalate beyond robbery, that's just terrifyingly lucky in a way.
Makes you wonder, yeah. Okay, next up, the unforgettable tape. This story is from a serious VHS collector, like over 1,000 tapes. He often buys big boxes of tapes online, sight unseen sometimes, and occasionally they include old home recordings, unlabeled stuff. So a couple of years back, he sees this ad on Craigslist. Box of cassettes, free. Owner just wanted them gone. He grabs them, watches a couple on, fast forward, then puts the box aside. Doesn't touch it again for like 9 months. 9 months later, he remembers the box. He and his girlfriend at the time, Brittany, decide to make a night of it. Watch the rest of these mystery tapes. They get comfy on the couch, start going through them. Old TV shows, movies recorded off air. The fourth tape starts playing. It's a wedding video. He gets up for a minute, goes to the kitchen. When he comes back, Brittany screams his name. She's just staring at the TV, which is showing a blue screen. Eyes wide, totally speechless. She rewinds it a few seconds, hits play. The wedding video comes back on. But then suddenly, it just cuts out. After a beat of static, a totally new recording starts. There's a man looking right at the camera. Looks like he's just starting it up. He moves away, and you see a woman, nude, lying on a bed. The man gets on the bed. They start having sex. Then the woman whispers, "Choke me." And he does. Things escalate. Our narrator at this point, he's just sort of stunned. Thinks it's maybe just some kinky stuff. Not his thing, but whatever. The man keeps choking her. Even when she starts gasping, grabbing at his arms, he doesn't stop. He finishes. Finally lets go of her throat. They lie there quietly for a few moments. Then suddenly the man turns, looks at the woman, stares for a few seconds, then starts shaking her, yelling her name, slapping her face. She's not moving at all.
Oh my God. The horror of that, finding that, it's immense. It's not just seeing something disturbing. It's the chilling realization that you're witnessing this raw, awful moment. Something never meant to be seen. That kind of thing. It can just invade your mind psychologically in ways you really can't prepare for. Forces you to confront the absolute darkest aspects of human behavior.
Yeah. The narrator starts to realize what he's actually seeing. The horror sinks in. The man eventually stops trying to wake her, just stares into her eyes. Empty eyes. He sits down on the edge of the bed, puts his head in his hands. You can hear him sobbing, just low sounds. Then he remembers the camera. In one motion, he reaches out, slams his hand down on it. Static. End of recording. He and Brittany just sit there, silent, stunned. Brittany turns to him, asks, "What? What do we do?" He honestly has no clue, suggests maybe it's fake, some weird amateur film. He tries reaching the guy who gave him the tapes, emails bounce back, phones disconnected. Turns out the guy moved. No other options, really. They took it to the police. Police said they'd watch it, get back to him. In the weeks after, Brittany started pulling away. They eventually broke up. She couldn't sleep. Said all she saw was that woman's face, the narrator. He says he still gets this tinge of fear whenever he puts an unlabeled tape in his VCR. Wonders if he's going to see someone die again. He reflected on it, when you collect things that capture time, moments from people's lives.
You just never know what awful secrets you might stumble upon.
That psychological impact, it's so profound. And the completely unexpected. It's a stark reminder that the dangers online aren't always physical threats. They can be deeply psychological. Disturbing. Leaving these marks on you, on your sense of reality. It really makes you think about the hidden emotional costs, even from simple curiosity.
And sometimes, that kind of deception, the psychological manipulation, it can lead to something truly deadly. Our next story, the deadly connection. It starts innocently enough. Guy meets this beautiful woman, Amber, at a bar. She'd apparently been stood up. He was just unwinding after work. She slips him a note, intrigued him. She was stunning. He almost thought it was a joke or prank. But she assured him it wasn't. They had an incredible night together. But when he woke up the next morning, she was gone. Vanished. He tried to find her, track her down, but nothing. Wrote it off eventually. Amazing one-night stand, but she kind of stayed in the back of his mind. Fast forward 2.5 years. He's single again. Browsing Craigslist, just randomly clicks on the missed connections section. On a total whim, he posts about their night. Short description. About 8 days later, gets a message. Someone saying they're Amber. And she knows everything. All the details from that night, even adding things only she could possibly know. He's overjoyed. Asks her out for drinks. She says yes. Suggests the same bar where they first met. Sounds perfect, right? Like fate. He really thought, okay, this could be something real.
That's the insidious part, isn't it? Using that very human desire for connection, for maybe finding someone again. Craigslist missed connections. It's meant for romance, right? But here, it becomes this sophisticated hunting ground. It's really a master class in psychological manipulation, using real feelings, real longing as bait for crime.
That's exactly why it's so devastating. So they meet up, have another great night. But there's one weird thing. Amber keeps checking her phone. All night. He kind of dismisses it, thinks maybe she's just nervous. After a few hours, she suggests going back to her place. As they're walking out, he sees her on her phone again, making a call. He doesn't think much of it, maybe calling a roommate, whatever. They get to her car. He gets in the passenger seat. She unlocks the doors, but just sits there in the driver's seat, smiling at him. He figures she wants a kiss, so he leans in. And that's when this strange male voice comes from the back seat. Tells him to stop. "Don't make me shoot you, cowboy," is what he hears.
Yeah.
Instantly sobers him up. He looks back. There's this large guy wearing a mask, pointing a gun right at him. He looks over at Amber. Her eyes. He described them as cold, lacking any empathy. Total shift. He's devastated, but reacts fast. Yanks his wallet out, throws it in the back seat, gets out of the car, slams the door. Just stands there on the pavement, mute, staring. About 30 seconds later, the car starts up, speeds away. Then the adrenaline hits him like a truck, and he starts throwing up right there. The next day, feeling angry, stupid, he goes to file a police report in Chicago. And when the detective shows him some mugshots, he realizes this is way more serious than he thought. Amber and the guy from the back seat, their pictures are right there. The detective lays it all out. Amber's real name is Shannon, career con artist. She and her partner had been targeting single men for over 6 months. He was thought to be victim number 5. And the most terrifying part, the detective told him the previous 3 victims had actually been killed. Just a total chill down his spine. The detective had no idea why he was spared, and neither did he. The accomplice was caught later, unrelated charges, but never talked. Shannon. Police figured chances of catching her were slim. The victim, he still doesn't know why he lived. He likes to think maybe they had some kind of connection, but honestly, he figures it just wasn't his time to go.
That story, it's just a stark reminder of how much pure luck can play a role in who survives these awful situations. It shows how something that feels like a romantic connection found online can actually hide this incredibly deadly intent. It turns our desires, our vulnerabilities against us. And that question, why he was spared, it's just unanswered. Chillingly arbitrary.
It's really chilling. Okay, next story. The horrifying discovery. This one comes from a friend of the narrator, a guy named Robert. Robert and the narrator go way back since grade school. Robert had some trouble with advanced math, didn't get to graduate high school, limited his job options, But he's smart, great with computers, ended up working at the local dump, the transfer station. But Robert, being resourceful, he saw an opportunity there, noticed people throwing out perfectly good or fixable computers. So he started taking discarded laptops, desktops home, fixing up the ones he could and selling them, mostly through Craigslist. Got a bit of a local reputation, actually, good computer guy. So this past April, Robert finds a couple of HP laptops at the dump. One looks almost new, perfect for resale. His standard process is to wipe everything personal off before selling. So he's doing a search on this newer HP, and he finds this one file, password protected. This was weird. He's seen login password, sure, but never a single file locked like that. Figures it's maybe bank stuff, tax files, but it has to come off anyway. So he does his thing, cracks the password, and what he finds just makes him sick. 5 gigabytes of child pornography. And not just that, some of it included beatings, even what looked like snuff material. Robert calls the narrator immediately, terrified, crying, swears he only watched enough to see what it was. The narrator believed him. Once Robert calmed down a bit, they talked about what to do. They both agreed, the police had to see this, but just possessing that kind of content is illegal, even if you found it. So they were scared. The narrator comes up with a plan, trying to make it anonymous, safe. Robert agrees. He wipes his fingerprints off the laptop, wraps it in old Christmas paper, tapes a note to it explaining where he found it, but no name, drives to the police station, the one inside their local mall, wears a plain black hoodie, mask on, trying to blend in, waits till no one's looking, puts the wrapped laptop on the counter and just walks away.
This is more than just a disturbing find. It highlights this really awful legal catch-22 for someone trying to do the right thing. It really makes you ask. When doing what feels morally right could land you in jail, how do you even respond to finding something that horrific? And what does that say about the system? Because legal reality is possession, even if it's temporary and you have good intentions, can have severe consequences. It's a tragic case of good intentions running straight into a brick wall of the law.
And the outcome for Robert was exactly that. Tragic. A police officer caught him on his way out of the mall. Once they unwrapped the laptop, read the note, saw the contents. Robert's worst fears came true. Hours and hours of trying to explain, denying he created it, did absolutely no good. News of his arrest got around town fast. Bail was set at $50,000, might as well have been $1 million for him. He's stuck in jail for the foreseeable future. The narrator feels this immense guilt. It was his plan after all. He's just furious. Feels like that whole idea honesty is the best policy is just a lie here. A decent guy is in jail basically for trying to do the right thing. He wonders, why would anyone guilty turn something like that in? It makes you question the whole system. Absolutely heartbreaking. Okay, our final story today. The dangerous gift. This one starts with a father trying to do something nice for his daughter Alex. She was learning to ride her bike, outgrowing the training wheels, needed a bigger, better one. They look online. Alex, of course, likes the brand new, expensive ones. Dad, being practical, searches used bikes. Finds one on Craigslist described as like new. Good price. Almost too good. It's a bit suspicious, but decides to go check it out anyway. And surprise, it looks great. Just like the pictures, hardly anywhere. Still, he smelled a rat, as he put it. Questions the seller. The guy has a story. Bought it for his own daughter. She barely rode it, just sat in the garage. Bike looked the part, hardly used. So the father takes him at his word, pays the man, brings it home. Alex's birthday's coming up, so he hides in the shed. Morning of her party, he brings it out. She's thrilled. Big hug, hops right on, rides it all afternoon. Next few weeks are pretty normal. Alex rides her bike with friends. Dad adjusted the seat once, that's about it.
This really shows that critical point, doesn't it? Even when you feel that initial suspicion, that little warning bell, a believable story can just smooth it over, lull you into feeling okay about it. The bike looking good, the innocent explanation, it overrides that gut instinct. It's a reminder that a good deal can sometimes just be a way to mask a problem.
That's a very sharp point. So weeks later, Sunday afternoon, Alex is out riding with her cousin. Suddenly, the father hears screaming, crying. He runs outside, finds Alex sitting in the street, holding her leg. Blood everywhere, pouring out. The injury's bad. A deep cut, right down her shin to the bone. You can see muscle. Alex is hysterical. Her cousin, thankfully calm, points behind them. Pedal broke off and cut her. The father picks up the pedal. The part that connects to the crank arm just sheared right off. Sharp, jagged metal points. The other half, still stuck in the crank, just as sharp. He rushes Alice to the ER. That night, he's furious, worried. Starts searching online about the bike model. Finds out pretty quickly this was a known issue. A common problem with that specific model. So common, in fact, that there had been a safety recall issue to replace those exact pedals. and the recall was issued 2 years before he bought the bike. He feels this wave of guilt. He hadn't checked thoroughly enough. Apologizes to Alex, to his wife, feels like he failed. Then this thought keeps nagging him. Did the seller know about the recall? And just didn't say anything. He calls the seller. Plays it cool at first. Doesn't mention Alex's injury yet. Asks about the pedals. The seller kind of mumbles. Says, yeah, it slipped his mind. It tells him all he needs to do is contact the company. They'll send free replacement pedals. That's when the father snaps. Then why didn't you do it before you sold it, he yells. My daughter has a huge gash in her leg because you were too lazy. Or did you sell it knowing damn well what could happen? Which one is it? The seller just mumbled again. Couldn't really answer. The father was convinced. He sold it knowing the danger. Right then he decides. He's suing. Tells the seller, I'll see you in court. Felt better than he had in weeks, he said. Talked to a lawyer, felt they had a strong case. At first he wanted to go after him, big bucks, guy who was apparently a doctor. But after cooling down, what he really wanted was Alex's medical bills covered. And an apology, a real one. Their lawyers worked it out, settled the case. Bills paid. And the seller had to apologize face to face. Later that week, they met for lunch. The seller apologized to both the father and to Alex. She accepted it very gracefully. Then the father realized he'd been so focused on getting justice or revenge, Alex still didn't have a bike. So he took a chunk of their tax return, bought her a brand new one, researched it thoroughly this time, made sure it was safe. Her safety was the only thing that mattered.
That story really drives home a crucial lesson. You need to be so vigilant, even with things that seem simple, innocent, especially when your family's safety is involved. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes, convenience or saving a few bucks can hide serious negligence. Or even worse, like a malicious disregard for someone else's well-being. It really forces you to think about responsibility beyond just exchanging money for goods.
Wow, yeah. What a collection of stories. The common thread here, it's disturbing, isn't it? How easily something that seems so simple, like buying or selling on Craigslist, can just spiral into real danger, whether it's intentional malice or carelessness or just truly unforeseen horrific events. These platforms, they can open doors you never ever intended to open. Now look, Craigslist can be useful, obviously, but these stories, many of which you can find shared on places like Horror Docx, they really serve as powerful warnings.
They absolutely do. These accounts really underscore how important it is to be vigilant, to trust your gut when something feels off, and always, always put your safety first, above the convenience, above saving a few dollars, especially when you're dealing with strangers you met online. It's just a reminder, Not everything is what it seems. And some deals, some savings, they're just not worth the potential risk.
So as you navigate this huge, often anonymous world of online interactions, maybe think about this. In a world where connecting is just a click away, are we really ready for the consequences when the digital world spills messily into our real lives? What hidden costs are we willing to accept for convenience? And how do we actually protect ourselves and the people we care about when threats can be hidden behind the most ordinary things? Thank you for joining us for this.
Unsettling Deep Dive. If these stories struck a chord with you, made you think, please do like, share, and subscribe.